All right, what's up, yo? It's Noka2 coming at you with a new comic haul. Sipping on a little bit of coffee. It's cold in Ohio, man. Um, anyway, first, as always, I want to start off by thanking everyone who has taken their time to watch my videos and post a comment, and also to issue the standard COPA statement that this video is not aimed towards an audience of children. So anyway, let's get started. So I thought I would start off by showing some female artists that I am kind of digging their work right now. So last year sometime I did a video in regards to Miss Marvel number 31, 1 in 10 ratio variant by Stephanie Hans. I liked it so much I purchased a CGC graded version for just under $100. I can't remember what I think I paid $69 for this, and I showed this last video. That's the first cover that I really took notice of Stephanie Hans. I mean, I love this cover here. Her use of colors, the flowing hair, the bubble gum. I think this comic will grow in value and continue to mature. And then after Stephanie Hans, then came Jenny Frison, and, recently CBSI, asked if, what's her name, Peach Momoko is going to get some heat with her covers. But time will tell. So, anytime that I now see Stephanie Hans covers for cheap or when they get released with new releases, I do pick them up, and this is one of those variants of regular. I think this was a regular ratio variant. Yeah, I think it was. It was Powers of X issue number 1 of 6 that came out earlier, or actually, what was it, mid 2019. And love that color, love the pink and the flowing hair, which I think is Stephanie Hans' kind of trademark thing. What else is there to say? That's about it, really. I love that cover. Now, Stephanie Hans, Adam Hughes is my favorite cover artist, and he's doing the first few issues of Invisible Woman, and I haven't put this in Mylar yet. I'm going to. But I came across this, and all these books I'm showing now are cover price. Great cover by Adam Hughes, but I'll tell you, there are times when Adam Hughes' cover, I think, is being outdone, in my opinion, by the variant artist, or maybe his variant cover is not my preferred cover. And in this instance, this is true. So that's Adam Hughes, cover A for Invisible Woman. But then Stephanie Hans did this one here, which I think is fabulous. Invisible Woman number 1, beautiful cover, normal ratio. Bought 3 copies of that. I think that's a beautiful cover by Stephanie Hans. It's the ant-eye view of Invisible Woman looking sexy, tell you. And then you have her creator-owned Die series for Image, and I like her work. It's beautiful covers. This is a second printing of issue 6. I showed her first few issues that I had talked about. Now in issue 1 is kind of hot. It goes from $10-15, I think. But I think all the issues, her covers are fabulous. Use of color, the artistic flair of it. This is number 6. That was the second printing before that. Here is that cover by Peach Momoko, Japanese artist that CBSI is questioning whether she's going to be the breakout artist for 2020. You know, I like that cover. I mean, it's not bad. You know, the this is an all white cover. I like the use of color. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I've looked up some of her other work. I kind of like it. I do have one of her other covers where she did the Doctor Strange Immortal Hulk variant cover where the faces are being ripped apart from the, I don't know, the one version to the other. It's kind of cool. If I come across it, I'll show it in the video. But I still like Stephanie Hahn's version better. Here's issue number 7, Stephanie Hahn's. Beautiful cover, near mint. This cover here is Matthew Lafray, or Lafray. It's alright. I still like Stephanie Hahn's is better. This I like a lot. I like the use of color on a white background. Beautiful cover. I think it's, you know, it's a fabulous cover. And this is cover 8, cover B. Now, I will say, for issue 10, I really liked Anna Dittman's cover B. I mean, that's a beautiful cover. I mean, it's sold out on release. And Anna Dittman is a computer graphic artist, kind of like Art Germ, who is an artist that has started doing some covers. And that, you know, that's a beautiful cover. I know I have the Stephanie Hahn's cover, but I don't know where it's at right now. But I will find it and maybe I'll post it together. So, all those books I showed, again, I paid cover price for. Here is Deceased, A Good Day to Die, the Francesco Mattina variant. And then the horror movie poster homage to The Conjuring by Yasmin Putri. Also a great artist who's really, you know, came in her own and has a following now from 2019. She really started making a name for herself with the cover Bs. Here's number 3 by, I don't know why I have 3 copies of this cover. It's a great cover, but at $4.99 a piece, I'm not sure why I bought 3. Other than the fact that I know I bought them at different times and wasn't quite sure if I had the cover B variant by Francesco Mattina. Same as this. This is the variant cover, horror cover homage, movie poster homage by Yasmin Putri. That is homaging the movie poster for The Nun. And then this is number 6, which is a great dark side cover by Francesco Mattina. All right, so let's see what else we got here. We're at 8 minutes. We're moving along. I'll leave that up there for you. Here's some more recent covers. I like this cover. I like the use of color by Rian Gonzalez for The Amazing Mary Jane number 4. I think that's a great cover. That came out a couple of weeks ago. I kind of like this cover here by, what is this guy's name? Guri Haru. Double Trouble, Spider-Man, and Venom. Back in the late 80s, there was a series that came out that I loved as a kid. I was a teenager, actually. And I remember buying the first book, and actually one of my sister's friends, I wasn't driving, I don't think, at the time, or didn't have a car. and he took me to the local convenience store, and this book was the first issue. I saw it. I was like, oh, I want that comic, and um, it was $1. I think it was $1 comic, and I think comics were 60 cents at that time. It was a double-sized issue. I had to borrow 6 cents, 6 pennies from the cashier actually, who lent me 6 cents to buy the book for tax. But anyway, I love that series. I loved Louise Simonson's writing and Joan Brigman's artwork, and I collected that comic 1 through probably about 26, maybe 27. Then I went off to then I was in college, and I had to drop titles that that weren't my favorite. And at that time it was still X-Men, Spider-Man, Batman, and so I dropped this title. As I said before, I started using my finances for other things like beverages, but anyhow, I've been trying to complete that series over time if I could find the issues for cheap. The series went for 62 issues, and then they issued various issues after that. It does have kind of a, should I say it has a cult following? I don't know, maybe. But let me just start with, so when I find these books in Near Mint, I pick them up if they're cheap, and these were all quarter books. And that's Power Pack. I have several issues of Power Pack #1. I used to be able to find the first issue in dollar bins easily, but in 2017, Marvel released a statement that Power Pack was coming to the MCU cinematic universe, and that they would introduce it with one of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. I'm not sure if that's going to come to fruition or not. Power Pack, they tried to do a live-action TV series. They did make one pilot, but then it didn't get picked up for any other episodes. And I think they may have shown it once or twice on Nickelodeon. Never seen it myself, but I could see this comic becoming a movie easily. So all the main characters, it's a family of brothers and sisters, and their last name is Power. So there's Alex Power, Katie Power, Jack Power, and Julie Power, and they get these superhero powers from this alien race that comes to invade the Earth, called the Snarks, which are their main antagonists. And so Alex can define gravity, and Katie can shoot out Energizer bursts. So she was called codename Energizer. He was codename Zero Gravity, I think, or G. Jack can turn his density to clouds or condensify and become like a high mass miniature, shrink his size, kind of like Ant-Man. So he was called Mass Master as a cloud, and then Jack in the Box when he shrunk down, and then Julie was called Lightspeed because she would fly, and then she would always have this rainbow pattern. And what's cool is during the course of the comic, and I can't remember how, but they end up I can't remember. I think they went into some machine or something. Their powers got switched around, so that's kind of cool. But anyway, I love that comic. I love the artwork, and then, when I finally dropped it, I think the artist had changed, the writer had changed, and so I kind of dropped off on it. But I am trying to complete that series. I've got quite a few of the issues. Number 19 I had already, but if I find the early issues in Near Mint, I'd still pick them up if they're cheap, and these were all quarter. Number 25, number 26. These were all in Near Mint. Number 27. I knew I had 27 because X-Men were in there. I know I didn't have this issue. Number 29, the white background with Hobgoblin and Spider-Man. Number 31. Number 32. Number 33. And here you can see they've switched powers. So like Katie now has Lightspeed's power. I can't remember what the other ones had. I know Alex had Energizer's power. This is 35. Guest starring X Factor. 36. 46. 47. 48. Franklin Richards ended up becoming a member of the team from Fantastic Four Son. Reed Richards and Sue Storms. 49. 50. Julie became Master. Jack had the zero gravity power. They switched powers, like I said. This one, every time I see this comic, it cracks me up. Number 51. I haven't read it, but I swear that looks like Whoopi Goldberg. I think she should sue him for using her likeness without permission. 53. 55. 56, 57, 58 with Galactus, which is why I think they're going to involve it in the MCU with the Guardians of Galaxy, because Galactus is being rumored as becoming a villain in MCU. 60, which, this is pretty high grade book, except for this right here. This isn't quite as white as it should be. I think it's got some color rub on it because this book was not bagged. And then same for this one, number 61. Again, a little bit of color rub. This is the next to last original series issue. So it ended at 62, which I haven't been able to find yet. But I got all those for a quarter. And then when the Legacy storyline came out, which, by the way, was awful, they issued a number 63 again because there's a cult following, I think. And then there was a reissue of trying to restart the series. Number 1, they've had holiday specials, mini-series, but I do like Power Pack. And if you find issue 1 in a dollar bin, I would recommend you picking it up because I do believe it is going to come to the MCU as Marvel had announced. These other books I got for a quarter, there is no significance to this book, but for some reason, anytime I see that book, I'm always compelled to purchase it when it's cheap. And this was a quarter. And I think it's because it's a white and black cover. It's real easy to find in the wild, but it's often not in mint condition. And John Byrne had said that this was his favorite cover. This one, and then he has a Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man cover that kind of uses the same concept of art, black and white only. John had said that the amount of thought process to do all those white bars and have her blend in with the black and still for you to tell that there's a figure attached with Aurora there was immensely challenging. And, I can believe that. But when I see this for cheap, I buy it. I paid a quarter for that. I don't know why I keep buying it, but I probably got like 5 copies of that. But I don't ever pay more than 50 cents for it. What else do I want to show? I don't think I'll show these. These are just new issues that I just bagged. And I'll show this. This is the homage issue number 11 of Sinestro, which is the movie poster homage to Westworld. Let's see what else in the show. Oh, I know what I'll show. So, when I went to this quarter sale, I came across a number of books that I had already. I didn't have this book, actually. I bought this for a quarter. This was Tales to Astonish, starring the Submariner, number 7. It was in pretty high grade, but, with the regular photo cover, and then they have the comic drawing of Submariner on there. I bought this book thinking it was worth something, but it's not. It reprints Submariner #7, but it's not worth anything. And but for a quarter, one of my aspirations is to sell comics at like a local con or maybe even on eBay. I'd rather sell it locally. And every year there is a small mini con in Ohio where they give away like 20 tables for free because they're trying to develop their con and they want vendors. So they give away a standard size long table for you to sell books. And I almost did it last year, but couldn't get my act organized really. And so now when I go to these 25-cent sales, if I see books that I think would sell easily, I'll buy them at a quarter for inventory. This summer I went to a local con, and people would snatch these books up. There was a vendor that had these books, and not even in as high of a grade that I'm about to show you, for $5 a piece. And there was people that clamored to buy them. They're not worth $5 in my opinion, because I think you can find them in dollar bins, but I do think that I could sell them easily for $2 or even $3. I have all these issues already, and they range from near mint to VF. I think there's one issue in this run that I'm going to show you that's probably VG or just fine. And that's Avengers 203, 204, which is probably the one in fine, or VG, 205. Otherwise, they all are VF plus. 206, 207, 208, 209, 210, and 211. So, I got all those books for a quarter. I thought they would make great inventory for a sale down the line. And so I picked them up. So, here's some more quarter books I found. Anytime I see these books, I know that now with True Believers and Dollar Comics from DC, as well as the facsimile editions, Marvel and DC are reproducing a lot of their classic titles. However, I still think these books will hold their value. And, these, whenever I see them and they're in near mint, because they're easy not to find in near mint, because it's silver border, I will pick these up. This was a quarter. Marvel Milestone Edition, X-Men #9. Looks great in Mylar. Easily worth a quarter. Easily could be sold for $1, if not more. Assassins #1. It's an Almagon comic with a blend of DC and Marvel characters. Probably worth $1, but for a quarter I'd pick it up. Secret War with a Gabrielle Dell'Otto cover, book 3, quarter. Got these two issues here because they were a quarter. Invincible Iron Man #500 and then #600. They were both in their mint condition. An old early bronze Thing and Submariner in high grade for a quarter. Fantastic Four 219, also for a quarter. Here's some books I picked up for cover price. Batman 37 has a little bit of heat on it. First appearance of Batwoman Beyond. Number 38, a cool cover B by Francis Manapul. Cover B by Art Germ on Catwoman #11. Paid cover price for those 3 books there. Man, that glare is terrible. Can you see that book? Let me cut the light off. better? Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. And the last two books I'm going to show, Silver Surfer Black. I really do dig Tradd Moore's art. This was one of his cover A's, and I love the use of color on this particular issue. His interior artwork, I mean, I think you either love it or hate it. I think with time, people will appreciate his artwork. I know when Bill Sienkiewicz first came out and did his artistic rendition of comics, when he did his now famous run on the New Mutants, some people did not like it. And but now you look at it and it's like, oh, that was kind of before its time. I have some other older bronze comics where Bill Sienkiewicz had did the pencils and interior with Joe Sinnott doing the inking, and it's totally like night and day what the interiors looked like then versus the New Mutants and now in his current comics. And then the last book I'm going to show is a book to kind of probably what everyone already knows about holding on to books, because the heat on them may take some time as more information or as more people start to search for it. You look at the 80s, and in 1980, Hulk 181 was a $20 book near mint. Then you fast forward to 2020, that same book is probably $8 or $9 or $10,000 for a near mint copy if you can find it. Probably 10,000 at least. But this book, this book here is nowhere near worth that. This is probably a $40 book right now, and in this condition, this is a VF Plus copy of Marvel Spotlight: The Son of Satan, number 12. This is not his first appearance, although if you look, it talks about this being his first appearance, but it's not. Although the market may say that it is. But irregardless, the point of this story is, I went to a Craigslist listing for a long box of comics about maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Let me think about that. Yeah, at least 3 to 4 years ago. It was before the first Ant-Man movie came out. And there was a listing, and it had 5 pictures, and it says, I have a long box of comics. They talked that, there's 250 to 300 comics. The guy hadn't counted, but we all know a full long box holds about 250, 300 to 350 books, depending on if they're bagged and boarded. And he only showed like 5 comics. He showed the first appearance of Scott Lang as Ant-Man, the first appearance of Nightwing in Tales of the New Teen Titans 42, one of the Iron Fists from his solo series, Volume 1, number 9, and then 2 Doctor Strange comics. And this was, I think this may have even been right around when Doctor Strange came out or just before it. So this is several years ago. And the only book that I really wanted that I was going for was the Ant-Man, because I didn't have that comic. I already had the Teen Titans one and the Iron Fist. I have the entire Iron Fist run from the 70s. But they all look near mint. And so I called the guy, and he said he had another guy interested that's coming out to see it tomorrow. But he also told that guy that it's first come, first serve. He's not holding anything. And so because of that, I went out that night. And I went out and got it to look at the books. About a 40-minute drive for me into a small county. And I went to his house, and my wife thought I was crazy. Told me I should take someone, which I did not. But I figured who's trying to kidnap people by using comics as bait. So, the Ant-Man book was in near mint, very crisp. The Teen Titans was also in near mint. The Iron Fist was an upgrade for me in near mint. Um, the other two comics were not. They were VG to VF, and I offered a guy $100, which he took. After I thumbed through the entire long box, there was some. It was mostly horror genre comics, Ghost Rider, no Dracula, unfortunately, or Tomb of Dracula, but it had some, Tops, X Files, had a lot of Punisher in there, and over time, I've picked out semi key issues like first Spirits of Vengeance. What else? A couple of Ghost Rider keys, semi keys. Punisher War Journal with Jim Lee and Wolverine. First appearance of Lady Punisher, and this book here. So I talked the guy down to $100, which is really what the Ant-Man was going for. And so the new Teen Titans and Iron Fist was like a bonus. And so, I at that time, I thought I got my money's worth because the Ant-Man was going for $100. Tales of Teen Titans was easily $100 comic, or, let's be conservative, $75. Iron Fist, easily $25 book. So, I figured $100, I got, easily market value at that time, $200 worth of comics. But then that long box has continued to I don't want to say pay returns, I haven't sold any, but continue to produce keys or semi keys, small keys, and this is an example of one of them. So I always say, when you get a long box of comics, you hold on to it for a little bit, and take some time, research the books as you go. I pulled this out and said, that's a great deal for for essentially $100 for a long box that included, which I've shown before. The first appearance of Scott Lang is Ant-Man. The first appearance of Nightwing's Tales of Teen Titans. An early, solid, near mint copy of Iron Fist number 9. A couple of low-grade Doctor Stranges. Now the Son of Satan, number 12. And then a few other books that were probably worth a little bit more than $1. Probably in the $5 to $10 range that that has gained a little bit of heat. So, just kind of a point to make. Sometimes when you get a box of books, not everything in there may seem like it was worth it, but I always take it if it's part of the deal. And I got some more books I'm going to show down the line here of examples like that I've held on to. And then the market has changed and shifted, and those books have now become semi-keys in parentheses or developed a little heat. So anyway, that's it. I will end this video and say peace out till next time. I'm going to bag some more books. Hopefully put out another video later this week. Peace.